Yeah, Tyrik.
Hey, how you doing? So excited to be on. I was listening, tuning in, and I guess we're headed for an amazing festival.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're part of it. You're part of what makes it that.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm truly excited to be on your show and to promote my film, Under the Heavens, which is going to be screening on March 17th at 7 p.m. So it's just really awesome to be on your show to push and get the word out.
So tell me about the movie.
Well, my film, like I said before, is entitled Under the Heavens. It focuses on a young Brooklyn teen who feels a sense of hopelessness. He feels that his American dream becomes a nightmare due to the recent killings of several unarmed black people by the police. So we follow his quest for justice as he looks to get involved with various demonstrations and protests, but he becomes vulnerable to questionable spiritual guidance. So this film is near and dear to my heart, particularly as an African-American filmmaker. I was telling Dawn that it took a lot out of me to develop this project because, as you can see, what's going on in the world, from the Eric Garner to the Akai Gurleys to the Walter Scotts in South Carolina, there's just a plethora of serious crises that we are living in our community. But I am very optimistic as we push forward and as I use my art to push forward the conversation of police brutality or police misconduct to hopefully live in a better world and a better place. So I'm truly excited. This will be my New York premiere. So this is home turf for me being a filmmaker from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm definitely going to make sure that we have a great turnout for everybody to see this exciting, dynamic film.
So in terms of doing this, this is the incidents of what prompted you to do the movie versus this is not, I don't think, something that you've experienced.
No, well, listen, me as a black man, I've, of course, experienced racism, which is a form of what I guess even a person like Eric Garner has experienced. But me, I haven't, directly have encountered a form of police brutality, but I live it, driving while black is a term that has been coined, but also being racial profiled. But more importantly than actually living it, I'm a part of the human family who feels a certain level of empathy for what I saw taking place at Eric Garner. To witness a man being choked to death, it definitely struck a nerve in my heart. And to know that if that would have been in any other community, in my opinion, the tragedy of his death would have never transpired. So no, I haven't gone through it personally, but there was during the mass demonstrations that people were holding signs, "I am Eric Garner," and I think that speaks to the human family that we are all a part of, that felt definitely that we need to do something about it. And for me as an artist, you begin to say, how are you contributing to this conversation? So I decided to pick up a pen and a pad and write this film. And I'm a musician first, so of course I did the music as well.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Matter of fact, most of my films have always come and started from a place of music, and I guess that's a place where I find a sense of hope at. Is sitting down at the piano. But as I was sharing earlier, this film, this is my third film, and I would say this is really one of my most challenging films of wanting to make sure that I'm being as honest as possible. One, to myself, most importantly, but then also to the viewership that is watching it. So it was challenging, but I'm so proud of this film, and I'm even more proud that an institution like Queens World Film Festival has decided to make it one of its official selections. And I'm overly pleased, and I can't even express my gratitude to Katha and Dawn as much as I possibly can. Words can't express, but we are definitely making our festival runs, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that Tyrik and Tyrik's work really epitomizes what the festival is about, which is the headlines are not separate from all of our lives. Eric Garner happened to every human being on this planet. 9/11 happened in Kansas. It affects all of us, And so having a piece with such a strong point of view, so emotionally rooted, and the music is very, it's what will get it past some people's own hurdles. This film really epitomizes what we're doing here, which is tell the story. Tell the story.
You know, I greatly appreciate that. And as we've definitely been accepted to numerous other festivals, but to be in your hometown, it speaks to. Then also, the story takes place in New York, and that's overly important too, because sometimes we are living in such a fast city. You know what I mean? Everything is moving by so fast. We kind of not taking the moment to stop and really deal with the reality that people are suffering. And like you're saying, this is a such a I would say an American story, but more importantly, this is a story that centers on black suffering and black suffering that's happening in our community. But this is also a story that definitely transpires in various other communities, poor white communities or Latino communities, Native American communities, because we are looking at a system that uses the police force as an occupying force, in my opinion, in some of these communities. So, you know, I'm just overly excited. I definitely greatly appreciate the Queens World Film Festival for setting up this interview. So hopefully we can get everybody to come out and really show their support to the festival, most importantly, but also to my film.
So you're being very modest. Didn't you have a nice little nomination recently, my friend?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I was fortunate enough to pick up my 7th New York Emmy nomination, which I am like through the moon over with. I've definitely won before. I won in 2014 for musical composition that I did for a show entitled New York. But to win your 7th, you know, when you get your first or your second or your third nomination, people can say that's a fluke that happened by chance. But to come to your 7th is such a blessing, is I guess a testament to hard work and definitely a supportive team.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that so much.
See, we have love for Brooklyn. It's not just the world. It's everybody. We love having Brooklyn with us very, very much.
Definitely. And you know, let me say this. I've been definitely, like I said before, this is my 3rd project. I also have another film out that's available on iTunes right now called The Power of Knowing. I deal with a lot more social content. But I've been overly impressed by just the love and the support that has been given to the filmmakers, to the community that what's going on building in Queens. I really think that everyone should come out and see as many of the 144 films as they can as possible, but definitely come out to see mine on March 17th at 7 p.m.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have a thought of like your dream, like film that you would like to do?
Well, you know, I come from a lineage of artists that believed in making a contribution for social messaging. I believe that there can be a balance of entertainment and also at the same time of you leaving the theater with some level of substance to it. So I'm definitely continuing in that tradition. I have a couple of other projects that's in the work right now. One is called Character. I really can't talk too much about it, but it's definitely going to be following in somewhat of materialism. We've kind of lived in a world that, you know, we've kind of been driven to everything is about the shiny things in life, and we're kind of missing the point. And, you know, even though it's very, you know, it's not that deep that it can't be relatable to or entertaining to the everyday world. But I definitely working on our project. We actually start production on it in a couple of months, so I'm excited about that. And if you can check out a lot of the films and the projects that I've done on my website on www.mdmgfilms.com, and you can see a lot of my past works and some of the projects that we're developing now. But yeah, for me, it's just to keep the ball rolling, make our contribution as much as we can to this business that we call cinema, but for me, to the art that we call cinema. So I'm just excited about everything that's going to come out in fruition.
What I'm thrilled about that he mentioned is the word cinema. It's different from a YouTube video, YouTube is a fabulous platform, and it's brought the ability for young people to make the moving image much, much easier for them. But cinema, for a young man like Tyrik to be working on the scope that he's working with, what he has in the frame, by how he moves the camera, by how he relates to you through the camera. This is cinema that this young man is doing, and he's in a different place. And I really encourage people to go to his website, look at what he's doing. This is an artist we're speaking to now.
Oh, thank you, and that truly means, that really means a lot to me. I think that the word artist have become so diluted because of various platforms. But I definitely think that we're living in an awakening period where people are going to get back to somewhat the essence of things. And I definitely hope that after not to say that I have years to go, but I definitely hope that I can look back on my body of work and say that I'm a true artist. Queen Catherine Don was fortunate enough to introduce me and others to Melvin Van Peebles, and he's such a heroic figure to me. But if you look back on his body of work, that's an artist. That's an artist for you. And I want to make sure that my contribution, someone can look at my body of work. And I know that's years and years from now, not to ever compare myself to Melvin Van Peebles, but hopefully people can say that's an artist, and that's what I want to get back to. So yeah, it'll be great that people go check out my website on www.mdmgfilms.com, and definitely come out on the 17th of March to see this great film, and just come out to the festival in general.
Okay. Well, we're certainly getting out the word. I just, as a matter of fact, I just had gotten an email from the editor of the Times Ledger saying that the article is going in this week.
Woo! Great. We're having our trailer party on the same night as the Oscars, and the Oscars and et cetera, is not as inclusive as it needs to be, and I don't want to lead that march. That's not the business I'm in. But if you look at this festival and you come to that trailer party that night, you are going to see the face of the world, not only in the human beings that are involved in front and behind the main event of the festival, but also the stories, what they're talking about. They're not rehashing. They're not rehashing a franchise. They're making very personal films. And our two honorees, he mentioned one of them, Melvin Van Peebles. You can't get any more personal than throwing a film up there starring the black community. It just doesn't. It doesn't bring it into every home any more than that.
Yeah.
It's true. Wow, yeah, that's a powerful. Yeah, that's definitely.
That might be my favorite part of that movie, starring the black community. The audacity to go against saying, okay, well, you're the bigger star, or no one's heard of you, and have I spelled your name right, and is it up before this and after that, and how long? It's like everybody made this movie, and y'all know you did.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
But what I also would add to that is the ability to self-fund. You know, the ability to, you know, Melvin Van Peebles for me is such a trailblazer because it was just like, okay, if they're not going to greenlight these projects, and this is definitely dangerous for an artist because you can go broke doing it. And
Yep.
I'm so blessed that I've had various outlets from mainstream to independent avenues to make sure I can have a few dollars in my pocket. But it's been so great that he's been a trailblazer. Like, if they're not going to greenlight my project, I'm going to do it myself. And then not only am I going to do it myself, I'm going to take it around the country, around the world, and go into various theaters and rent out theaters to sell tickets for people to come to my film. And I think, you know what I mean, that's why I can say it was truly such an honor to, like, just to engage with him, to talk with him, and have him yell at me a couple of times. It was truly a blessing because you're looking at someone who is not so much looking for a handout. I do think it's a tragedy that the Oscars has gone on and just really just decided that the world of cinema should only look white. But more importantly, I do think it's an opportunity for us as filmmakers of color or women filmmakers, just various people who have been excluded, to say, you know what, hey, you don't want me to be a part, I'm going to start my own stuff. And I'm glad institutions like the Queen World Film Festival will take it and provide an avenue and a platform for us to show our work. So this is just an awesome time to be alive, and I really mean that as an artist.
I think technology has caught up with the mind of the independent filmmaker. You know, when Melvin was four-walling and taking his film out on his own, you rent the theater and then you pay back yourself out of ticket sales. We can now do that with online marketing, with social media, with streaming. That's basically what this festival is doing, is that there's not an outlet where there is truly a diverse and inclusive representation of artists working in the moving image. Well, then we're just going to go rent a school and a church and a theater. We're going to start throwing stuff up there that you guys have never seen before. We're going to do 6 days of it. So come on down.